So this review isn't based on my first time watching this movie, as I've actually seen it one other time before. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Later this week, Netflix is releasing the final film in the To All the Boys trilogy, and the second film I already have a review up on my channel. It was actually one of my very first videos, so to keep this complete, I wanted to post a review of the first movie, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this movie were so we can discuss, and make sure to give this a thumbs up if you like these reviews, as it helps me out immensely by getting my channel out there and growing the community. And if you are new here, I hope you consider hitting that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases, older films, hidden gems, and so much more on a near daily basis. But let's not waste any more time and let's talk about To All the Boys I've Loved Before. This stars Lana Condor as Lara Jean Covey, who writes letters to all of her past loves, which are meant for her eyes only, until one day when all the love letters are sent out to her previous loves. Her life is soon thrown into chaos when her foregoing loves confront her one by one. Unlike the next two entries in this trilogy, this is directed by Susan Johnson. It's also written by Sofia Alvarez, who wrote the second film, and it's based on the book of the same name by Jenny Han. And I've actually had a bit of an interesting journey with this one, as going into it, it just didn't seem like something I'd enjoy. Not that I don't like romantic comedies, but it's a teen romantic comedy by Netflix, who's very hit and miss with this sort of genre. But I surprisingly wound up liking it, though at the time, I thought it would be something that I wouldn't go out of my way to revisit. But for the sake of this review, I watched it again to have it fresh in my head, and I actually liked it even more this time around. I think maybe just because I knew more what I was in for the second time. There's also the fact that, without getting into detail, I was also recovering from a minor medical procedure when I first saw this, and wasn't in the best of moods then, so that may have played a part in it, though who knows. Either way, I had a really good time with this movie, and it's easily one of the better entries in Netflix's romantic comedy output. Now, I'm not saying this is the most subversive take on a rom-com I've ever seen, because it can be very predictable in some areas. You can definitely call certain moments almost right from the beginning, but I think what makes it work so well is that when it leans into some of the tropes we normally get in young adult dramas or teen comedies, it tries having some fun with them. Like, for example, there are times you'll have Lara Jean deep in thought over something, and she might be thinking of one of her crushes, or she's stressed out, and the sappy romantic music might kick in, only for her to get interrupted by her younger sister Kitty, played by Anna Cathcart, who enjoys repeatedly dunking on her sisters throughout the movie, though never in this mean-spirited way. It's always done in a loving, playful manner, which is mostly the tone of this film. It's a movie that takes itself seriously, and it's very respectful of its characters, but it knows its main goal is to just put a smile on your face. And when characters are put in some sort of dilemma, there will always be a joke thrown in there to help cut some of the tension, though never to the point where it totally deflates the suspense. The film's strongest suit is its balance between tones. Especially because the film can feel fairly high stakes for what it is, not that it's some sort of thriller or anything. It's just what ends up happening is Lara Jean sends out multiple letters, mostly to boys who she's currently in school with, some of whom have connections to friends of hers, or even her sister Margot, played by Janelle Parrish. And what happens is, it causes not one, not two, but three different love triangles to come out of here. One of Lara Jean's letters is to her sister's ex-boyfriend Josh, played by Israel Broussard, and while he seems interested in her, another of her letters is also sent to a classmate named Peter, played by Noah Centineo, who's also the ex of one of Lara Jean's former best friends, who herself is jealous of this whole thing. And meanwhile, Josh is also a bit jealous once he sees Lara Jean's interested in Peter. And this is on top of the fact that she wrote more letters besides just them, so the way all of these love triangles interweave is actually pretty engaging. Now, some are touched upon more than others, and a few of them feel like afterthoughts, with characters getting pushed to the side, such as Peter's ex Jen, played by Emilia Baranek. But for the most part, as Lara Jean's trying to wrap her head around everything that's going on, you get pretty invested in what's happening here. And another fun aspect is, as she's mulling everything over in her head, she'll also start talking to versions of Peter, Josh, and other characters that she made up. So she'll attempt to reason with them, which is really herself, as to what she should do next. And it makes for a fairly fast-paced experience. Even Lara Jean's narration is actually kind of fun here. I'm normally not the biggest fan of narration in movies, and while some of it here can repeat stuff we already know, for the most part, it complements the action well, as Lara Jean's frantic descriptions can get a few good laughs. this. And the cast all around does a pretty top-notch job here. Lara Condor is a very charismatic lead, as is Noah Centineo. I thought the two of them had great chemistry with one another. They mostly had this kind of sarcastic dynamic where they'd bounce off one another pretty rapid fire at times, always having these fun jabs at each other. And the other big standout is Anna Cathcart as Kitty, who provided some of the film's biggest laughs for me, always having a fairly witty comeback from most things thrown her way. Her role isn't exactly huge, as she kind of provides this running commentary for everything going on, but she shines whenever she's on screen. The only other criticism I had for it though, besides being a bit predictable, is in the middle section, it can feel maybe just a tad bit too long. I think a few of the arguments can feel slightly repetitive, not to the point that the movie comes to a grinding halt. I just think that while some of the arguments were funny, they also touched upon a couple of points that have already been made, and it just rehashes things we already know. So maybe you could have had like 10 minutes at most shaved off this film, or if anything, they could have been reworked to focus a little more on some of the side characters who didn't get as much screen time as they should, but it doesn't derail my enjoyment of the film by any means. Like I said, I actually had an even better time with this the second time around. This is a really fun movie. Even if you're not into these teen romantic comedies, I still think you should give this a shot. It's very funny, it has a mostly breezy pace to it, it doesn't lean too hard into its more sentimental elements, where it comes off as contrived, and while it can have some predictable beats, it tries to take these familiar elements that we've seen so many times before and attempts to have some fun with them. So if you haven't seen this by now, definitely check it out. To All the Boys I've Loved Before gets an 8 out of 10. So, as I said, I already have a review for To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You on my channel from last year, and I made a playlist and I'll leave a link to that in the description so you can watch that as well. And then this weekend, I'll have my review of the final film in the trilogy, and then I'll do a ranking of all 3 movies. So stay tuned for all that and much more coming soon. So let me know, did you see To All the Boys I've Loved Before, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you find it funny? Do you have a favorite romantic comedy? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll catch you next time.